Hello everyone, this is a mock presentation. I prepared this presentation for my UX designer interview. So let's go. So first thing I want to do is hi, like for example, hi Jessica, my name is Tong Wen, and I'm gonna present this deck to you. And I'm pretty sure that after my presentation, you will know me more about my skill in product thinking, interaction design, and visual design. So let's go. Uh, Not working. Okay, so let me introduce myself a little bit. I have been working at SAP as a user experience designer for 3 years, and I believe in goal-oriented design process. And also, I'm really into product design and visual design. Those two aspects of design are my favorite parts. And also, I like to share videos on my YouTube channel because I would like to have a connection with the whole world. Okay, so actually I have prepared two agenda for today's presentation. I can just quickly go over those two agenda, and I want to know that which one is your preference. So the first agenda is I will talk about three topics one by one, and then we will do a Q&A at the ending. And another agenda is I will just talk about one topic, and then we can do a quick round of Q&A. And then I will continue on another topic, and we will do another round of Q&A. Just do this loop. So I'm wondering that which one do you prefer? So let's just assume that Jessica just choose agenda first. So let's go. Let's go to the let's go to the first design story. So first design story is about how I found props in design process matter. So it actually happened in 2019. And, actually from 2018, I was responsible for a product which is called SAP Edge Cloud Edition. It's a web application. And its main feature is to allow the user to create a rule and also deploy those rules to the servers. And the pain point is solving is to save users' effort at rule creation and deployment. So this stack will tell you a story which has happened at early 2019. It's actually about how I started my design process from 0 to 1, and also about how I found probes is very important. Okay, let's go. So first of all, I'll say that once I was handed over this topic, the head of product, Shuba, she just said, hey, we need a new product. Our product is going to be called SAP Edge Cloud Edition. And then I was asking what's the relationship of this product to other products which we already have right now? And then she said that, okay, we have another broader product, which is called Edge On-Premise Edition. That's on-premise product which is installed on each server. And which means if the server doesn't have the network, and then this product will be just some solo software installed on your computer. It will just running on your computer, and it won't talk to the cloud, right? But our product, Edge Cloud Edition, is going to have the capability of talking to the cloud, which means it can talk to some applications running on the cloud. For example, S4HANA and C4HANA, you probably have no idea what those things are. But just imagine that those are some powerful application which contains a lot of master data and which can also empower customers business transaction. So and then I said that okay, we already have the definition of our product, but I still want to know that what problem we are trying to solve. We cannot just say we got a solution. So I started to understand what's the research done by the research team, and also get to know the business strategy of this product. So in SAP, the research is done by research team, and that team will verify some business scenario based on the data points they gained from the customer. And actually, they sent us some decks, but it didn't include any complete report, which meant I didn't have any user journey or any specific like customer profile or user profile, which I can, dive in. The only thing I got was like some insights slides, and I just synthesized those insights into two main points. So one point is because currently we already have the Edge on-premise edition, right? You remember that we have this brother product which is installed on the server, and that application is powerful, but it cannot talk to the cloud application. But the user wants to create some business rules which is relating to master data. That means the user hope once they create the rule, the application can talk to the cloud-based application, right? So that's one desire. And another desire is like right now the customer may have like over 1,000 servers, and it takes too much effort, to create the same rule, on those server and also deploy that rule to that server, with this Edge on-premise edition tool. That's just a lot of like effort, like human labor, and also it's hard to manage. So that's the two main insights that I found, and also based on the business strategy from the head of product, Shuba. So I actually just had a talk with her to understand what's the business value and how we are gonna take the market, proportion. Yeah, and how these products will gain the business success. And she said that, okay, our strategy is like we will encourage the existing customer to sign this new product, and also we will only target big deal customers. So then I have some like understanding about how our product will gain the profit. After that, what I did is to verify pain point. Why? Because I didn't have a complete like a complete user journey, a complete research report, which means I still have no idea about our customer, have no idea about our users. So and also, in business product design field, usually we are targeting to a lot of different potential customers, which are in multiple industries. So to start the design process, I chose primary customer, to do the analysis, to do the research. And the company I chose was a shipping company, and it's based in Greek. Even though I didn't mention it, yeah, it's somehow like secret, yeah, and because the policy, and that company just just totally fits what I described as the last slide. And that shipping company has over like 100 shipping vessels, which means they have a lot of servers needs to manage, and also like they have a lot of like critical business transaction needs to handle. You can see that the number here, they have like over 1,000 purchase requisition, so each month, which means like they need to create a lot of rules, to automate this business transaction, right? Yeah, and I think I forgot to describe what the rule will look like, but I will introduce that in the next slide. Don't worry. So, and then let's just take a look at what's the current solution. The current solution, just as I mentioned, if the vessel is inshore and then it has the network connection to the cloud, then the user will be able to do the rule creation and then to do the mass deployment. Not mass deployment, just deployment for individual server. And then once the vessel is offshore, there's no connection, which means the user cannot do the rule creation, and also means sometimes they probably want to do the deployment, but usually they don't do that. Usually the rule creation and deployments are done at the same time. So that's what they are doing right now, and they feel like this is not that agile, so they want to have something that can fix their problem. And then I started to come up with the user journey map. So how I came up with the user journey map, I actually asked my product owner to talk to customer to gain those data, to gain how the user is doing their business, not doing their business, doing their operation in their daily routine. So we can, this user journey is very, very long. So I will try to quickly explain it because I think that's very important, right? And so the story actually involves multiple users, and then you probably see that there's no user profile, right? Because in this scenario, we chose to use the task-based user profile, which means we don't really care about the demographic of the user, but we care more about their task, their goals, their daily behavior. And I already include those things in this user journey. So you will see that. So that's why that I didn't put the user profile in the stack. We already got enough information, for the whole story. So I just want to make it short. But I already talked too much, too much redundant information. Okay, let's go. Okay, so all the story starts at the headquarters. And at the headquarters, usually there are some experts. They define a rule, and the rule could be like, okay, if the pump type 1 vibration is over 70, and then the work order should be triggered. This rule is more like automation, like how can I say it? It's just it's trying to automate the business process, right? The business operation, not business operation, automate the operation. Okay, so and then we just go to step 2. Step 2 is that the admin user will create the rule based on the expert, and then deploy those rules on the corresponding servers. So, and then at this point, we see that the user is feeling like it's pretty time consuming, and also like they are not sure that whether they have done the right work. So they really worry about the accuracy, and there's no way for them to have a holistic view of everything. So that's why they feel like really uncertain. And then we see that there are some other users involved in the rest of the story. So the rest story is telling like, okay, after this rule is running on the server, and once there's something wrong happened, for example, the lubrication leads the pump failure, and then the vibration is, for example, above 70, and then the work order is triggered, right? Once the work order is triggered, the manager needs to do something like create the work order operation, and the technician will receive the notification, and then he will just request the component. And then the inventory manager will be informed, okay, he needs the component, then I need to issue the component, and technician got a component and then fix the problem. And manager is notified, okay, everything is done, you can close the work order, and the inventory just update the data to the cloud, those things. And once I talk about this, I want to explain that, okay, after this rule is executed in real time, we have some real time data, right? And based on those data, the expert can reevaluate the rule and then update the rule if necessary. So actually, from step 3 to step 8, there are a lot of opportunities, right? We can see that the usually the user is very nervous about whether they have get the right notification, and also they want to know that whether everything is fine. They want to have some holistic view, but this problem is already solved. Not already solved, I would say that somehow it's solved by customer application, which is also provided by our team. But for step 2, there's no solution for it yet. So that's why that this new product, SAP Edge Services Cloud Edition, will be introduced to solve the user's pain point at step 2. And then I feel like, okay, I understand what's the problem we are trying to solve, and seems like that's a verified design problem, design question. And then I just synthesized the design question into two questions. One is how to create a rule anytime and anywhere, without the limitation of the network. I mean, in other words, so we hope that there's network all the time, right? So how to create a rule anytime, anywhere correctly and effortlessly. And the other question is like how to make those rules running on the right server correctly and effortlessly. And then here in this deck, I will only focus on the second question. For the second question, I actually came up a lot of ideas, and you see that some ideas like bulk action, some ideas like some tagging idea, and also we probably have a life cycle management, dashboard, something allowing the user to monitor. And after I brainstormed those ideas with the product owner, yeah, actually we brainstormed the idea together with the whiteboard, and I just had another thought like we should do a competitor analysis at this point because I want to know that whether those ideas have already been realized in the industry, and I want to know that how they're going. And we found out like Microsoft Azure, it seems like already implemented all those four ideas, and AWS probably only implemented one, two, three idea. And after we after we have done the analysis, I found like those ideas they are not new, right? And somehow it means we are on a right track. But on the other hand, it means there's no breakthrough, and it means we don't have strength in the market. We didn't really beat our competitors by introducing some features. So I decided to do more research to see whether I can find other opportunities, right? So I just try to probe the user journey again and look for new solution. And if you remember, the user journey step 2 is the create and deploy rule, right? So then I was wondering that how the user create a rule and deploy those rules on the corresponding servers. And then I found out like actually the admin user will receive some documents, and those documents or materials could be in any kind of format. It could be like Excel or other format, and those documents show the relationship between the rule and the pump type. And then also there's some document shows the relationship between pump type to the pump ID, and also the pump ID to the server ID. So after the admin user collect those information, the admin user will physically go to the server and then track which rule will be running on which server, and then deploy those rules. Sorry, create those rules and deploy those rules. Yeah. So after I found out those information, I feel like, wow, actually there's the user already got a lot of like raw materials, and which containing all the information she needs. In the I was thinking that if those documents can be parsed or can be read by the machine, and or those documents can somehow like be synthesized together, and the ultimate goal of making those rules running on the right server will be achieved. Because in the whole process, there's no human judgment. Whatever the human has done is just the data input. But data input can be definitely done by machine if we have some smart, intelligent detection or like parsing, capability, right? So I came up with the new idea: why don't have the machine, analyzing those documents and then automatically deploy, and human probably will be responsible for examination to see whether everything is right, to do the double check, right? But just like all the sad story, I presented this idea to the dev lead. Dev lead said that that's interesting, but based on our current capability, we couldn't do that because SAP library didn't provide any intelligent parsing, capability. So which means if they have to code from the scratch, it will take a long time and it will totally delay the delivery date. And also, I talked to the head of product. She said that that's a little bit too out of the scope. That could be something that for long term, but not for short term. And I would say that even though that this idea was not realized, and but I still gained a lot of things from the whole process. I found that probing was really important because it could uncover a lot of truths and correlations which were neglected at the beginning, and also it allows me to think out of the box. And moreover, I feel like not I feel like it's just our team, was still using this user journey to understand users' mental model, to evaluate the user's need, and also to explore the new opportunities. So one example I can give is like once we came up with the rule creation feature, we actually allow the user to associate the pump type with the rule once the user is creating the rule, because we found like they already got that association in the material, which means they can just do that at that moment. Yeah, so that's pretty much for the first case. Let's just continue. The second case is interaction design example, how I design bulk action. Well, bulk action is a very generic feature for all kind, not all kinds, for most application, web application, right? And the pain point was like without the bulk action, and to allow the rule run on the server, okay, I had to give some like context. So to allow the rule to run on the server, user needs to deploy the application first. But without the bulk action, there could be the user have to do it. The user has to do it individually. Has to deploy the application to each server individually. And but usually the deployment setting is the same for most servers, but the user has to do the repetitive work, and it's just a lot of human labor and takes a lot of effort, right? So that's the pain point. And then I will show you my whole design process. The design process is start from defining the real design question. I try to uncover what's the real problem we are trying to solve. And once the design question is defined, I need to measure whether it's worthy to solve this problem. And of course, we find it's worthy only if we are using this standard theory guidelines, using a standard capability that SAP provides. And then I started to do the ideation. After that, I started to do the user test. So in today's deck, I will only focus on the first part and the last part. Why? Because of the time constraint. And also those two parts are something that I feel really interesting. So the first part is about defining real design question. So why I have to do that? Actually, once I was assigned this topic, it was like the product owner just came to my desk and say, okay, I just created a new backlog, and the customer said that we need bulk action, so I think we need bulk action. But then I said like, oh wait, bulk action is a solution, is not a design question. So what's the problem the user trying to solve? So I just throw back some questions to the user, and not directly to the user. So in SAP, it's like I have to throw those questions to product owner, and product owner will hand over those questions to customer, and the customer will collect those feedback or answers and then send it back to us. Yeah. And then I just try to understand the user's current behavior about how they are doing it right now. And then I want to know that whether, what's the pain point. And then another thing is I want to understand the user's current feelings so that I know that whether it's something that the user really desires to have, or it's probably just an itchy point, not a pain point. And the third thing is I want to understand the user's goal. So I hope the user doesn't care about our approach, but just care about, not care about, I mean, just tell us what's the ultimate goal, or what's the ultimate status they want to achieve. So after collecting the answers from those questions, I found out, okay, uh, they are really facing some problem because they want to have the application to be deployed on the multiple servers, and they hope it's effortlessly. And also, I feel like that's a new feature introduced to the servers, right? New action to the servers, it shouldn't affect the existing actions like add servers, remove servers, or refresh. So refresh page, I mean. Refresh page is to refresh the status. Well, I think I'm talking too much. Okay, let's continue. So after I defined the design question, I and the PO, we started to do the measurement of the value and effort. And as I said, we feel like automation is probably not our choice because it takes too much effort. We will find some more traditional or generic way. And yeah, and then after that, I just came up with several prototypes, and then I started to do the user test. Let's go to the user test part, how I execute the user test. So I try to define the user tasks first, and the task will include the most important thing, right? Deploy application on the server, but also it include the existing task so that I can ensure that the new feature, the new action doesn't affect the existing actions. And then I define the testing objectives, effectiveness, time-based efficiency, and task level satisfaction. Effectiveness is the most important metric because I want to make sure that the user can do it, can complete the task. And time-based efficiency, I would say that it's better. It's showing that whether it's easy to use, whether it's easy to find, whether it's intuitive. So if it's efficient, that's good. If it's not that efficient, we can figure out why. That's what's hindered the user to find out to the right solutions. I mean the right approach. So the task level satisfaction actually indicates whether the whole user experience is pleasant. Okay, so then I will introduce my test approach. So one thing I want to mention that based on my previous test, I found out once we are testing a business related product, the user will spend more time at the first prototype because the user needs some time to digest the new terminology in the business field, or the unfamiliar UI pattern, or something that just those unfamiliar things actually make the user spend the most time or more time for the first prototype. That's why that in this test, actually, once I present the prototype to the user, I shuffle the sequence a little bit. For example, for user A, I show prototype 1 as the first prototype, but for user B, I show prototype 2 as the first prototype, so that we can eliminate the bias of the user testing. So yeah, that's something that I want to mention. And then actually I presented 3 prototypes to the users, right? And also I recruited. Why is not moving? Oh, sorry. I recruited 3 users, and I will explain it a little bit more at the end. And then I will quickly show you the prototype. So the first prototype you can see is called select and click in dropdown. So it's oh damn. It's like the user just select those servers, those nodes. Nodes is the business terminology, and then just click this action button, and then deploy the application. So that's the first prototype. And the second one is like it's still the same, but the difference is the action is not hidden in the dropdown. It's just showing in the toolbar as an icon. And the third one is it's inspired by Amazon. Actually, I found this design pattern in AWS. One of the product, in Amazon AWS is enterprise product, and the way they're doing is like all the actions, no matter is a bulk action or regular action, they are all in the same drop down, and then the user just click the button and then select the nodes in the dialog. So select the nodes after the user click that action. And then we can see the test result. So the test result is showing design 1 and design 2, they achieve the 100% effectiveness, but design 3 seems like you're not the choice because one of the user cannot complete the task. But we can see that actually design 2 has a slightly better time-based efficiency. But ultimately, I chose design 1 as the final approach. Why? Because we can see that the number is not that quite different. Probably the time-based efficiency is only a little bit better compared to design 1, right? But the problem is like design 2 is not that scalable. You remember that we have the icons listed late in the toolbar, but the toolbar only has limited space, which means if we have more features, more actions in the future, and we will face a problem which we don't have enough space. So that's why that I say design 1 is more scalable, and in long-term view is probably better. So that's why that I chose design 1 as the final approach. Yeah, retrospect. I'm not sure whether we have time to do the retrospect. I can talk a little bit about the tester recruiting. Actually, I feel like it was pretty hard to recruit the tester because I couldn't reach out to the real end users. So I just had my friends who had experience worked in a freight company as an operation associate. So he had experience in dealing with long forms or repetitive work, every day. So I would say that he probably is better, compared to a random people. So that's why that I chose him as the tester. But I can explain more if you're interested. We can do it in the Q&A. Let's continue. So okay, let's quickly scan some of my visual work because I want to indicate I have visual design skill. Yeah, you can see that there are some selected visual work I had done before, and I want to say 3 things. First thing is I like bold, clean, and sleek style. You can see it from the examples I show here. And the second thing is I'm capable of branding design. So this logo and branding is a client work, and it actually won the award, which is called A Design Award. It's a national award, pretty famous. So, and also I want to indicate I have the capability of designing of data visualization design, and this is also a client work. The client was Adobe, so they asked me to come up with a design for designer employment data, insight something. Yeah, it was done 3 years ago. Yeah, so yeah. That's pretty much for all the stories I want to share today, and then I will talk a little bit about my strengths and weakness. So first thing, I would say that I'm good at visual design. I'm good at exploring a topic, and also I'm good at learning new things, except for language. But what I really want to improve my storytelling skill, presentation skill, and communication skill. I think because I'm not really good at language, you can probably see a lot of typos and grammatic errors in my design. But I think as a good designer, you really need to be good at explaining yourself, not just by your visual, but also by your information, right? Information could be text, and the text is also part of the visual. Wow. That's really complicated. Okay, and then also there another thing I want to improve is like I want to get more sophisticated in design and especially customer product. Yeah, because I only had experience in because I had a lot of experience in enterprise product design, but I feel like I want to learn more about customer product. Yeah. So yeah, then let's do the Q&A at this time. Okay, then okay, thank you for watching. This is my first round of mock presentation, and I look forward to your feedback. And feel free to comment in my YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it. Bye. How to